Hey everybody, welcome to Local Business Hacks Podcast. I'm your host, Carl Case, and I'm on a mission to help you. Every week, we're going to be talking to local business owners and experts to get their best tips, tricks, and hacks to grow your business. This show is designed to teach you, inspire you, and motivate you to take massive action and start to build your future-proof business. Whether you're just starting off or you're taking your existing business to the next level, this episode is for you. So let's get started. Hey listeners, I'm your host, Carl Case, Head of Business Development at Referrizer, joined today by Becca Brennan, Director of Strategic Initiatives for RockBox Fitness. Welcome.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome, Becca. Well, obviously you don't get this super cool title overnight. Talk to us about this journey that's brought you to being the Director of Strategic Initiatives for RockBox Fitness.
Yeah, it's weird. I would love to say that I put a lot of time and energy to get here, which I did at some point, but I really stumbled upon the opportunity to work with RockBox. I was pretty close out of college, graduated from University of South Carolina, so go Gamecocks. And I really had the opportunity to start fresh, move to Charlotte, North Carolina, where we're based, and actually was working with a different company and just really did not enjoy what I was doing. And people who know me know that it takes a lot for me to quit. I'm not oh man, that was hard, I'm just going to stop and try something new. But really realized, at 22, why am I pushing to be part of this company and role that I really didn't align with, that I didn't like, didn't have a family, kids I have to support. So I don't have to stick with the role that I'm in just to be bringing some money in. So I applied to anything and everything that had the word marketing, digital, communications in the name of it, and really stumbled upon applying to a digital marketing role at RockBox that I actually did not have the qualifications for. And came in, interviewed with Roger Martin, our CEO, and Jeff Duden, who's our principal advisor, and really just talked a lot about what they were looking for in a team. It was really the two co-founders. Jeff was brought in on the franchise side, our VP of franchise development, and that was about it. And they had, I want to say when I started, about 9 studio locations open. So that number of a team was good for just a little bit longer until we really started growing. So came in, met them, had my final interview with Steve, who's our co-founder, at a Water Bean Cafe, which is a coffee shop down the street, and just had the opportunity to start. I'll actually never forget, I had my final email from Roger that was starting out with, "Hey, Becca, thanks for interviewing. You don't have the qualifications for the role that we're looking for," and just totally heart sank. I was looking for something new. And then, of course, buried the lead and finished that sentence with, "But we'd really like for you to join the team as a project manager," and wanted to see if you'd be interested in that. And I vividly remember almost crying at my old role, called my mom, "I found a new job. The team's awesome. This is what they do." And I've always had an interest in fitness, played sports in high school, and just loved being part of a growing company. And so I came in, project manager for about a year and a half, then was promoted or kind of moved into a social media and project management role before moving up to director of branding, until I had made kind of the jump to strategic initiatives, which I like to say is really just a fancy word for anything and everything that kind of has to get done. I love project-based work, which is funny because when I was in high school and college, I didn't always love that kind of work, but I've just found that having kind of a beginning, middle, and an end to something that I'm completing always makes me feel really accomplished and just gives me kind of that goal setting. So that was actually a role that I just took on the beginning of this month in January, and have loved it so far.
That's awesome. Congratulations to you, and congrats for your team for taking the number one rule in hiring, which is hire what you can't teach. And clearly you have the things that don't need to be taught. So congratulations to you. And speaking of RockBox, 3.5 years ago, when you started with the brand, you guys had 9 locations. Tell the world where you're at today.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. We are actually at 50 locations open as of last month. Our number 50 opened in Livingston, New Jersey, which is northern New Jersey, and just crazy expansion. It blows my mind with where we were when I first started. We had our training camp. When people come in, they're learning about our pre-launch process, how to be open and operating and beyond their opening date. And when that started, that was our 2 co-founders in a conference room, just talking through everything you need to do. They had opened studios before. They had done this 7, 8, 9 other times at that point. And I remember that was, I think, week 2 or week 3 for me. And it just kind of looked like a big board meeting at that point. And now fast forward to just the people we brought onto this team. We have I think nearly 25 people at our home office, coming from when it was 4 or 5 of us, and just grown based on the need and the wants of our members. And so that's just been so amazing for us to see how rapidly it's grown, how saturated we are in some markets, but then have some really awesome outliers. Rochester, Minnesota, Cheyenne, Wyoming, have multiple locations coming to Idaho next month. So just different places where they see a need for this because they don't have anything else like this.
I love that. And for people that want to get involved with the brand, where can they go? Who should they contact? What's the best way?
Yeah, take a look at our website, rockboxfitness.com. So ROCKBOX Fitness. And take a look at our Try It Free. Your first class at RockBox is always a free experience. We want to make sure that you have the opportunity to make sure that you love the brand, you love the experience. We know you will, but take our word for it and try it out yourself and find a location nearest you. So our website will actually pin where you are and know where the closest location is. And if we don't have one there and you want to bring one there, you can click on our franchise opportunities portion of the website and fill out your information.
I love how proud you were that the location is going to find you.
Yes, that's a big deal for us. That just started probably 6-7 months ago. That our marketing team has just absolutely crushed our new website, completely revamped it, and the geo-targeting where it knows exactly where you are and the closest location is just such a big bonus. Our members don't have to scroll through, especially as we grow and find the best location near them.
That's amazing. So Becca, congrats again to you and the brand. Let's focus a little bit on your current role. So Director of Strategic Initiatives is definitely not something that I come across all the time. I know that you're newer to this role, being a couple weeks in, but talk to me about what moved the brand to creating that role for you, and what does that really look like inside of RockBox?
Yeah, it's crazy. I feel like as I've started here and kind of moved along my path, I've had title changes and we've had strategic changes inside of the business that have made the most sense for what we need. And I think when you're in a small company, even though we feel big because we have so many locations and so many franchise owners and staff members there, we really are still like a small business here. And so finding the best needs for the people that you don't just have one person that's doing only branding and social media, which is a piece of my role. You're doing branding and social media, but also working with our studios for the supplement line that we sell in our locations, plus our annual convention, our summit that we run in October. So that's really where this role kind of came about, because I was in that director of branding role, working on our social media channels, our logos, colors, fonts, everything that our brand touches, and making sure that consistency is from North Carolina all the way out to California, up to New York, down to Florida, which is so important, especially as you're growing a franchise brand, to make sure that your brand name and the attributes that go with it are consistent, because that's what your members are relying on. And so that was a really big chunk of my role. But as we really grow this business and the needs are there, we've just kind of found that there are other things that have to get done. And there are people in the office that just absolutely crush the projects that they work on and do so well with those things. So a lot of our team members really do have different project management pieces and different parts of their role. And so going into the end of the last year in 2022, I really talked to our CEO and just really talked about the trajectory of our business and where we want to go. And that was really the biggest conversation was, listen, you're overseeing branding, but like that's really a small piece of what you're doing. And that should be a lot more under the marketing side. And so that's where this strategic initiatives kind of fell into place. So working with RockBox, our sister brand, making sure that our studio staff is trained up on everything that they need when it comes to Leverage Nutrition, which is our supplement line, different opportunities that we bring in, our charity partnership. And so that's kind of where this role came about. Was it encompasses just anything and everything that has to get stood up and passed along to a team really comes across my desk.
Jack of all trades.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's awesome. So Becca, being in this many roles in the fitness space and the marketing space now for your entire career, talk to me about some things. Keep in mind, our podcast is called Local Business Hacks. So what are some things that you've implemented either with RockBox, your other brands, or in the past that was an ultimate win across the board?
Yeah, I would say probably first and foremost that I've learned, and especially being in a smaller team, and I think this does apply to your smaller business role, is hiring the best talent. You have to have the right people in the right seat on the bus. So even if you have someone on your team that is amazing, they're a brand ambassador, they are great at what they do, but they may not be in the right seat and it may not fulfill them enough to keep them there. So really being on the pulse of what your team is looking for, what your employees want to grow. And that's been such a big bonus of being here on this team, is that our executive team and our VPs and leaders are just so great about connecting with you on such a consistent basis of what are your goals, professional, whether it's here or beyond, right? The whole point is to make sure that someone is feeling comfortable in what they're doing, feeling challenged enough that they'll stay, but then also helping to grow your business, right? So it needs to be a win-win for both. And I think personally, and also just what I've seen come through our team in the last 3.5 years, the people that have come up and just absolutely crushed at what they've been doing in our team is just the people that are ready to pull up the bootstraps and get things done, and whatever it takes, that's what we do. And so I think for small business owners, and as you're opening multiple locations, potentially finding those people that really are there to help your business grow, but then also being able to give them the opportunity to grow. We're looking at bringing in some great summer interns this year, and actually just posted some of those jobs this week. And so that's really our biggest goal with this intern program, is not just to have people that come, interns are not just doing the grunt work anymore. It's coming in, helping them grow, putting an entire program behind what that looks like, so that we potentially can retain that top talent and keep them here, potentially ongoing on a full-time role after the summer.
I love that. Hiring, especially in 2023, has become one of the most difficult things of a business succeeding. And obviously you guys are doing a great job because you're at 50 locations now. So out of curiosity, aside for the obvious of hire what you can't teach, what are some tools or some things that you guys have used in your team to assist you in hiring at this scale?
Yeah, so we actually go through the competency selective interviewing process, and that's been a big, I wouldn't say shift for us. Our team was already doing something pretty similar to that when we first started out hiring teams, but we actually, of course, have a dedicated HR team now. When I first started, it was pretty much me doing the first call, but we have really worked on the competency selective interview process, which takes all of the subjectivity out of it and keeps it objective. And what I mean by that is it's important when you're interviewing and hiring people to make sure that you're not hiring someone who's really cool that would come work out with you and love to join us on our Wind Down Wednesday, which is once a month at our office, right? Those are the people that you would be friends with outside the office, and that's awesome. But we need people who are really going to align with our values, know what the goal is, and shoot for the goal every time. And so that interview process has just really streamlined for us. Great, this girl was cool, very well spoken. Would she get the job done? And did her past performance really show that? So it focuses more on what you've done previously that shows that you have those traits, rather than if I come to RockBox, this is what I would do. And we've really started pushing that down to our franchise owners and giving them all the tools that we've learned between interview guides and different trainings that we've done, because regardless of the role, whether that's a front desk associate, that's a college student for $15 an hour, all the way up to your general manager who might be a salaried position, or even a regional manager over multiple locations, the process still applies. It's just the questions that you're asking that would change. So rather than, hey, I see you have 20 years of experience somewhere, it's tell me about the organizations that you're a part of in your college or university, because they're not going to have that experience, but they'll still be able to speak on what they've done to make sure that they can really show those skills. Your past performance will show what you'll do in the future, rather than if I were to join RockBox, here's what I'd want to do, because it's all great and dandy, but we can't necessarily predict the future of what you do as part of our team. So that's been such a huge piece. And our HR team and business office here is just amazing at what they do, and really bring in some top talent so that when our directors and VPs are interviewing them, they've already vetted these people and made sure that they fit the culture, they fit the brand. Now do they fit what, the role entails?
I love that. Becca, you caught my interest when you said the questions are different, but we're after the same goal depending on the role and who they are. What's one of the greatest questions that you have or that you've heard in this process? Greatest meaning stump somebody and you really saw who they were, or it's like the answers are always different? Tell me about it.
Gosh, that's so funny, because it actually brings me back to when I was interviewing, and actually not necessarily part of the competency selective interviewing process, but I still think it's a good one to ask at the end, because you always do get different questions. Is Roger, our CEO, always asks, if you could wave a magic wand in 5 years, what would your life look like? Personal, professional, what would you be doing? Because it really paints a good picture of Does the person have a 5-year plan and goals that they want to accomplish? And if so, do those goals align with what we'd be offering them in this role? Because that's super important. And then also you do get some fun answers. If people are like, honestly, in 5 years, I hope I'm not working. I hope I have a job right now that I love, but eventually I want to travel the world and go to Europe and do all this different stuff. So that one also stumped me. I had never been asked, wave a magic wand and what would you do? Especially at 22, it's like, I don't know, in 5 years, I hope I have a job. So if you want to give me one, here's an opportunity. But we have gotten some really fun answers with that where it stumps them, but they really do get to think about what would I like to do in 5 years? And it's not just what's your 3-year, 5-year, 10-year plan. It's wave a magic wand. Money is not an option. What would you be doing? Right? You had all the money in the world. Where would you be? What would you be doing? So.
Well, without asking you that question, we'll talk about the answer later.
Yes.
Thank you for that. I can say that my most interesting interview question that I've ever heard friends and other colleagues asking is, if you could have dinner with 2 people that are no longer around, who would those 2 people be? And I think you really start to shape who that individual is based on who they'd like to meet, or same with you. What is that future goal, which is awesome. Transitioning, Becca, I got time for one story. If you can share me one thing that really accelerated RockBox, in your opinion, to where you guys are today, outside of supporting your franchisees in the best way possible, hiring the team to best support them. What is something that really, really offsets RockBox, in your opinion, from every other boutique fitness brand in the world?
Gosh, I would probably have to say the community piece. And I know that everyone says that, and I know that there are communities in every single different gym and studio, every place that you are, right? It's different with big box. You go in, you go to Planet Fitness, you go in, you do your 3 sets of 10, you leave, right? But I think for us, where the community is the biggest piece is that we truly have members that are like family with each other. We have people that go out and do things outside of the studio, like hang out and get drinks and stay on their meal plan, of course, but hang out together outside of the studio without it being a member event or something orchestrated by the team. And we've really found that these are the ways that accountability piece, which is one of our 3 pillars for RockBox, has just emulated from our franchise owners down through their staff and then also into these members is, hey man, we're always at the 12 o'clock. I didn't see you yesterday. Like, where were you? And they sell the product for us, but also they grow that community where, we've had people that have apologized to our franchisees for canceling, where they're like, listen, I'm really sorry, I'm moving and you don't have a location where I'm moving. And I'm sorry to cancel. I don't want to. And that one just always sticks in my brain as you never think about when you're at a big box gym or a place where you don't know anyone that you're like, I'm not apologizing for not paying you money anymore. I don't live here, right? I can't pay for a place I'm not going to go to. And we've had members who have come in and been like, I was nervous to talk to you. I don't want to cancel. And I know you're going to be sad because I won't be here and I'll be sad not to be here. So I think that true family piece that starts with our franchise owners, with their staff, the way that they spend time together outside of the studio and really cultivate it top down has been so important for us. And that's really what's built it, right? People will quit a gym membership. They won't quit a relationship. So they will leave a gym membership because you can go work out anywhere you want, right? And we get it. We're not the first place. We didn't invent boxing, right? We're not even the first probably boxing boutique studio, but people will quit another membership because it gets boring or they're not getting what they need. They don't see the results that they want, but they don't quit a relationship, or they don't want to, at least, right? It has to be extenuating circumstances why they're leaving us, or we didn't fulfill our promise, which is on us. So I think that's been something that I've seen just across the board in every studio you're in. And every time that we do different feedback surveys and find out information from our members, it's always the community and the people that they're there with, the staff, the way they made them feel. The workout is amazing, and we know that. It's already unique. It's different. It combines the boxing, the kickboxing, and the functional training, but ultimately you could do that somewhere else. So how do we keep you there? And it's with the people that are there that are supporting you throughout your journey.
I love that. Hiring, it all comes down to hiring at the end of the day. That's awesome. Congratulations, Becca. Congrats to the brand. And I really appreciate you speaking your honesty in this podcast, sharing your journey with us.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. This has been a blast.
And for everybody wanting to get involved, one more time, rockboxfitness.com, RockBox Fitness.com, and Becca Brennan, Director of Strategic Initiatives. Thanks, Becca.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's it for this week's episode. I hope you found it helpful. Be sure to head over to our site, local-business-hacks.com, to check out the show notes and send me questions or ideas for future episodes. If you want to grow your business, just like the people you've heard from here, follow Local Business Hacks Podcast and tune in for new tips, tricks, and tactics. Until next time, thanks for listening and keep hacking.